In Arknights Endfield, like in most gacha games, there is a permanent banner where you can obtain up to 5 different 6-star characters at random. Some of them are clearly better than others, so in today's video I'm going to rank them from worst to best, based on my own criteria. Why is this important? Firstly, because once you reach 300 pulls on the permanent banner, the game allows you to choose one of these characters for free. That's a lot of pulls and it will take time, but it's something that will eventually happen in the long run. Second, because when you start the game after roughly 40 minutes, the gacha system unlocks and the game will give you a good amount of free pulls. If you don't get anything you're happy with, there's always the option to reroll your account. And finally, if you progress far enough into the story, after many hours you unlock a special banner where the game rewards you with a total of 40 pulls, and after completing those pulls you obtain a random 6-star character from the permanent banner. It takes a long time to reach this point, but I know some of you will rush straight for it, and if you don't like what you get, you'll reroll again. So overall, I hope this video helps you understand which permanent banner characters are the most valuable. All of them are good and have their own niche, but some clearly stand out more than others, so let's start the ranking. Unfortunately, in 5th place, we have Ember. And I say unfortunately because she's a very cool character and actually one of my personal favorites. Let me make this very clear from the start. Ember is not bad at all. She's simply the character with the most situational role on this list. Even though she's a fire character, she only really fits into physical teams, and within those teams, she is the best survival option you can have. Between her tanking and healing, she makes the team almost immortal. The correct way to play her is to keep Ember as the main character on field, since enemies usually target the character you're controlling, and Ember takes full advantage of this. You want to activate her skill right as you're about to be hit. The skill will tank the impact, preventing knockdowns and greatly reducing damage you take. On top of that, Ember actually wants to get hit, because every time you take damage, she will gain an attack buff, and is able to activate her combo too. Her skill will apply 1 stack of vulnerability, and activating her combo activates a second stack, which allows physical DPS characters to detonate those stacks with Crush and similar abilities for massive damage. So even though she's a defensive character, she also provides offensive support. So where's the problem? There are 2 main issues. First, her personal damage is low. She's not designed to be a main damage dealer. Second, her method of applying vulnerability is less flexible than other characters because it depends on the enemy attacking you. When an enemy is stunned, it doesn't attack, which means Ember can't naturally activate her combo. However, you can still adapt your rotation, tank the enemy's last hit before the stun with her skill, trigger the stun with that hit, and then activate your combo right at the start of the stun window. This works and is perfectly playable, but it's more complex and less efficient than more offensive characters that apply their effects more directly. Because of that, in purely meta hyper-offensive teams, Ember is usually not the ideal pick. However, as soon as the content becomes difficult or challenging, Ember gains a lot of value. She allows you to survive where other characters fail, and compared to more offensive options, she doesn't actually lose that much damage. Regarding her potentials, they are generally not worth chasing. Most of them further reinforce her defensive role, which she already does perfectly well by default. The only one that adds offensive value is the very last potential, but it's not worth the effort just for that. Overall, Ember is a very strong and very safe character, just more situational than the rest. In 4th place, we have Feng, one of the best vulnerability appliers in the entire game. His main role is to enable physical DPS characters. He applies vulnerability so it can be detonated with Crush. And he also applies physical susceptibility, increasing the damage enemies takes from physical attacks. On top of that, he deals very solid damage with his ultimate, acting as a strong sub-DPS. His kit is simple and extremely effective. With his skill, he applies 1 vulnerability stack, and if the enemy had no vulnerability stacks beforehand, he also applies 10% physical susceptibility. His combo empowers the next skill or ultimate used, but in practice you almost always want to use it on his own ultimate, because this will massively boost its damage, allowing Feng to hit incredibly hard, and the ultimate also applies 2 additional vulnerability stacks. Overall, Feng is a very complete and very powerful sub-DPS support, so why is he only on 4th position? Mainly because what he does can already be done by other free-to-play characters. Feng simply does it better, more efficient, more consistently and with more damage. He will absolutely be meta in physical teams, but he doesn't bring something entirely new, and the gap between him and free alternatives isn't large enough to place him higher. Regarding his potentials, they are generally not a priority. The only really worth mentioning is the first potential. It increases physical susceptibility he applies by 5% and allows him to apply it even if the enemy already has 1 or 2 vulnerability stacks. This is nice, but beyond that extra 5%, it's just more comfort and flexibility. If your rotations are clean, Feng should already be applying the first vulnerability stack without issue. The remaining 3 characters are all TRS level, and you could reasonably place them in any order. The differences between them are small and somewhat subjective. That said, someone has to take the lower spot, and here I've placed Pogranichnik. Pogranichnik is the best physical battery in the entire game. His biggest weakness is that he only works with physical teams. If you don't have him, the best alternative is Akekuri, but the gap between them is very large. He is also the only 6-star battery in the entire game. What makes him so powerful comes down to 3 things. First, the insane amount of SP he generates. He generates SP through his skill, his ultimate and his combo. Second, he's an incredible damage amplifier. He is the only character who can consume vulnerability stacks to apply Breach, massively reducing enemy physical defenses and enabling huge damage afterwards. Also, his ultimate will summon soldiers, and the soldiers attached to other characters of the team, they will deal good damage and also apply a 10% attack buff to them. The third reason is that his personal damage is actually quite good. Between the soldiers from the ultimate and also his combo, he deals very strong damage, being a good sub DPS. He is a powerful battery, a strong damage amplifier and a solid sub DPS, and unlike many jack-of-all-trade characters, he actually does everything well. So why is he only third? Because his best teams are very premium. Physical teams truly shine when you have both Pogranichnik and Feng, and getting both from the permanent banner requires a lot of luck. The reliance on premium units is what ultimately pushed him down to the 3rd place. As for his potentials, all of them are good, but none are game-changing on their own. The strongest ones are fairly far down the line, so don't stress too much about chasing them. In 2nd place we have Last Rite, who on release will be the strongest ice DPS in the game. Her damage is absolutely insane. She requires a team that can generate ice stacks for her, because once 3 ice stacks are applied, she activates her combo, which hits extremely hard and applies ice susceptibility to enemies. This also generates a lot of energy for her ultimate, and once you finally cast it, which is quite expensive, she will summon a scythe that strikes 3 times with what is arguably the highest scaling ultimate in the entire game. If the enemy is already affected by ice susceptibility, the damage goes even higher, placing her among the top DPS characters in the game. Her main weakness is that she requires a team built around her, but that's not really an issue. When Yvonne, another 6-star character, releases, she may compete with Last Rite in terms of raw power, but they might even work extremely well together. I couldn't fully test this because I didn't manage to pull Last Rite during the beta, but on paper they could synergize nicely. That said, both characters have very demanding ultimate requirements, so fitting both into a smooth rotation could be hard. In terms of potentials, they're all good and increasing her damage, which is ideal for DPS, but none of them are mandatory and the strongest ones are fairly late. Finally, as the best non-promotional character in the game, I've placed Ardelia. However, this ranking assumes you have her first potential. Without it, I would probably place her closer to 3rd. During the beta, Ardelia was given completely for free, and it remains to be seen whether this will also happen in full release. She earns this spot for several reasons. First, she is the best healer in the entire game. If you're facing difficult content, you bring Ardelia and problem solved. And she fits into almost every team. Second, she's also an excellent damage amplifier. She doesn't just heal, she boosts team damage significantly. Her combo applies corrosion, reducing enemy defensive. It's only a level 1 corrosion, so it's not extremely strong, but it's still useful. However, if you then cast her skill on an enemy affected by corrosion, and will apply 25% susceptibility to all elements and physical damage. This makes her the most flexible damage amplifier in the entire game. Best healer with incredible flexibility and a strong amplifier, that alone makes her amazing. On top of that, she is meta in one of the strongest teams in the game, the Levitain teams, where she functions as both a healer and amplifier. Applying corrosion with her combo will activate Levitain's combo, allowing Levitain to build stacks and deal even more damage, making Ardelia one of the best partners in that composition. Her main weakness is that her base susceptibility is 25%. Some characters can apply more, but her first potentials increases this to 35%, allowing her to compete with the best amplifiers in the game. That's what makes her, in my opinion, the best non-promotional character in Arknights Endfield. If you pull her, be happy, and if you pull a duplicate, be happy as well, because the first potential is huge. And that's it for today. Let me know in the comments which characters you're hoping to get, or who you're praying to show up in your account. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.